First and foremost, before I get started, I want to thank God for allowing all of us to be here tonight. It's just an honor to be with you. Second thing I got to do is I got to give it up. Where did Pavarotti go? Give it up for Pavarotti and the national anthem. Got to give it up. I've got a few minutes to spare with you guys tonight. I know you've got business to get to, but before I start, I just want you to know the back girder, what girds me. I'm a Christian first, so as I give you my speech tonight, I want y'all to put this verse in the back of your brain. It's Proverbs 14:23, and that verse says, all hard work brings a profit, P-R-O-F-I-T, but mere talk leads only to ruin. Now, if I had church people in here, they'd be like, amen, hallelujah, but here's what that means. That means talk ain't cheap, it's absolutely free. So I'm going to give you a little bit of backdrop, how I got here. So I'm the guy that society said should be scared of the police. Y'all know how the left does us. My freckles are this close together, so I'm supposed to be scared of the police, right? I'm supposed to be fearful of white people. I'm supposed to be blaming everybody who's less freckled than me, right, for my problems in society. I started out, my twin brother and I were born, my mom was 15 when she had us. We were child number 2 and 3 for a 15-year-old, 16-year-old in New York City in 1978. Mom was addicted to crack, grandpa addicted to heroin, household full of addiction. I'm the poster child for what society society says is somebody who's gonna end up a statistic. It took a very long time for me to get to the point of where I am today to even know that I had values. And folks, let me tell you how I got to the Republican thing. Y'all are gonna like this. So, I go and register to run for Kannapolis City Council. In the middle of Kannapolis with a name like Addul Ali. Think that out, okay? First question I had to ask myself when I decided to run for office was, am I comfortable with my background becoming public knowledge? With my every life decision, my every life circumstance coming to the public knowledge? And every candidate has to ask that question. Am I comfortable with people knowing that my mom was 16 when she had us? Am I comfortable with knowing all of this stuff? And so what ends up happening is this. I run for city council. I'm sitting at a Rotary Club lunch. Anybody in the Rotary knows we do lunch a lot, right? And a friend of mine who was happened to be on the Kannapolis City Council, who helped me get appointed to our Community Development Commission, says the following thing to me, and I cannot make this up. I had a plate of fried chicken and watermelon, and he says this to me. He goes, Addul, you are a Republican. As I got my Tupac t-shirt and my Jordans on, I'm like, what? What do you mean? I'm hip-hop. What do you mean Republican? What do you mean conservative? So I get back home after this lunch, and the first thing I did was I did my Googles, as they say, and the first picture that came up, y'all, was Frederick Douglass. Okay? Frederick Douglass is clapworthy, but check this out. I order on Amazon the autobiography of Frederick Douglass, and it comes a couple of days later. I open it up and I start reading. And I get to the scene in this book where he talks about seeing his aunt tied up in the middle of his kitchen and being whipped. And he talks about the flesh, him watching the flesh being ripped off of this lady as she's getting whipped in this kitchen. Now I had to go back and compare, because y'all know, like in the movies where your whole life flashes before you, as I'm reading that, I go through the whole thing and I'm like, wait a minute, I've never seen anything like that. I've never been told it's illegal for me to learn how to read. How dare I? Knowing what Frederick Douglass stood for and what he had to go, how dare I think I had a hard life? So my next phone call, folks, was to the Democrat Party, believe it or not. I sat down with the Democrat Party and I said, folks, I'm gonna run for city council again. And I'm just reaching out to y'all because I want to know, what y'all stand for. What's the community about? And I'll tell you this, make no bones about it. I'm sitting in the Starbucks with 3 Democrats, and they got real comfortable, folks. I'm not saying all Democrats, but these 3 got very comfortable. And they said, well, Addul, we're about education, we're about this, all the stuff they give you. And then they got comfortable, and they said, well, we're going to put $10,000 in your city council campaign. We're gonna make sure you have 100 volunteers to knock doors, make phone calls, write letters. We're gonna do everything in our power to get you elected. Just don't do it as a Republican. That's what they said to me. And I said, well, why not? Well, the Republicans are misogynist. They don't empower women. Republicans are racist. They want to take away your right to vote as a black man. Republicans are Christian. You can't have, this is a secular country. This is what they said to me while I'm sitting there. Now, I do not liken myself to Jesus at all, but I know exactly what he meant. And I understand the parable now of when the devil tempted him on the mountainside and showed him all of these things I'll give to you if you but fall down. And yeah, no, y'all ain't getting me like that. So the next day, I was at a Cabarrus GOP meeting, and that was 6 years ago. I talked with a couple a little while ago. Where'd they go? Y'all first convention. This is their first convention. There they go. This is your first convention. You are the most important people in this room, and I say that because I'm you 6 years ago, sitting at my first meeting, not knowing how the sausage is made, not understanding how important what we're doing is. But here's what ends up happening. At every single turn, I looked for an opportunity to serve, whether that was hooking up my sound equipment, whether that was just showing up and slinging hot dogs, or whatever I could do to serve the party. And when I saw this opportunity to get on the county's executive committee, I took that opportunity. When I had an opportunity to run for Cabarrus GOP chairman, I did that and was successful. But I also have to share this with you folks. I've heard so much about what we're not doing. You know, we're not reaching out in urban areas. We're not communicating with minority voters. We're not really pulling in the unaffiliated voters the way we need to. And those are things that are very real, and those are things we have to work on. But I have to tell you, we've made so much progress in North Carolina. I can probably do Chairman Whatley's speech by heart because I've heard it enough. But check this out, folks. In North Carolina, your state, because of the people in this room, the Republicans, we now have the first black lieutenant governor in North Carolina history. Amazing, right? You think that's a great start. But then you take and look at our party. We now have more African Americans in party leadership than any other state in the country. And that's due to the fact of the matter that people like y'all in this room see fit to elect people not because of the color of their skin, but because the content of their character and their ability to lead. So we're going to have to continue that as Republicans, but I'm going to digress for 1 second and kind of step back a little bit. This idea, okay, of where we are right now as a country, folks, and some of our talk, especially Ruben, has talked about how dangerous of a precipice we are at a country. And I had to write this down because to say it in and of itself, I don't believe it. So here's where we are. We are at a point where our country, people in our country believes, and we are arguing that boys are boys and girls are girls and one can't become the other. This is where we are. We have socialism, straight up and down, CRT, and filth infiltrating our classrooms. We have government weaponized against parents who want to go and hold school board elected officials accountable. We have our legislature, I am not going to sugarcoat this for you, we have our legislature right now debating on how soon is too soon to kill a baby. Y'all call it what you want. Call abortion. No. It's killing a baby. And that's where we are in our society right now, is we're discussing, here's something for you. If life ends when your heart stops, life starts when your heart starts. We have rising crime, inflation, an attorney general who is running for governor who has done absolutely zero. We're in a church, so I can't say what I was going to say. He has done absolutely zero to defend the rule of law, to defend us as North Carolinians. To the DA's point, we cannot let Josh Stein into our governor's mansion. And we have unprecedented lack of hope. I go to a lot of communities. I probably, in the last 5 years or so, I've done at least 250,000 miles within North Carolina alone. I spend a lot of time in urban communities, and I'm telling you folks, hope is at an all-time low. We as Republicans have to be the light that people see a little bit of hope in, because our platform says you can do it. If you do, and this is what I do with people, I do just a simple, basic comparison of the platforms. You got one group of people who says, we're so sorry, let government take care of it and we'll do it all for you. And another group of people who say, God made you to work, God made you to produce, God made you to be who you are. You have individual accountability. The government should be small and out of your way. You should keep more of your hard-earned money. Those are the two dynamic opposing forces that we have. And we as Republicans have to get into these urban areas and continue to share that message. Now, I gave you the who. That's a little bit about me. Now I got to give you the what. So what am I doing up here? Yes, I serve in Cabarrus County as the chairman, but I'm also running for state party vice chair. And I have to tell you why I'm running. For all of those aforementioned things, the reasons we have all of those problems. But I'll tell you something. Our state party is at a very crucial point, folks. It's at a very crucial point. I go to a lot of black barbershops. As y'all can tell, I spend a lot of time in the barbershop, folks. And I spend a lot of time in diners. When black folks in barbershops are saying the same thing that old white folks in diners are saying, we got a problem. We got a problem because these voters, the average American citizen, does not want their daughter getting beat up by a dude who was a dude 2 weeks ago who now identifies as a female. They don't want that. They don't want the government coming in and telling you how many guns you can have, whether or not you can have a shoulder stock, or they don't want that. They don't want the government telling us that you gotta wear a mask, you gotta inject this into your body. No, thank you, not interested. We have, as a Republican Party, a unique opportunity in 2024. And folks, I'm a chairman, so I can't say nothing. There's going to be a primary, but I'm hoping there's a big black guy that runs for governor. That's all I'm saying, right? We have a unique opportunity in 2024. We have an opportunity to do something historic. That is to elect, potentially, the first black governor in North Carolina history. We have an opportunity to take veto-proof majorities, not that we'll need it with a Republican governor, but we have an opportunity to have veto-proof majorities in the state House and state Senate, like super majorities. We have an opportunity with the Supreme Court, but I'm gonna add an opportunity to that. We have an opportunity to show young people who were in my situation, who were born, air finger quote, disadvantaged. We have an opportunity through our lieutenant governor, through our elected officials, to show them that this is the greatest country in the world and that equality of opportunity, not equity. Equity is a terrible idea, okay? I was just at sidebar, I was just in Asheville, and they said, Addul, what do you think about, what do they call this, reparations? This is a real easy one. I said, okay, I am willing to pay reparations to any individual that can show me how long they were enslaved, who the slave master was, okay? Once you show me all of that, I'm down because you served in slavery. Get your money. But it don't make any sense to me to take money from somebody who didn't do anything and give it to somebody who didn't experience anything. It's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. So this idea now, but just think about this. And to Ruben's point, this is what's happening in our classrooms, folks. You can go, we literally can pull up libs of TikTok and they will tell you to your face, yes, we're indoctrinating the children. Yes, we are. We just saw Nassau County, New York, the superintendent of curriculum. Not that I care that he's gay, it ain't my business, right? But he says, my sexuality has always been a part of my work, and I believe in making connections with children. Hold on, buddy. What do your sexuality got to do with 4 + 4? What do your sexuality got to do with the Constitution? And what does that have to do with anything? And now that you mentioned, first of all, sexuality and children don't belong in the same sentence, right? I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I know we're in the church, but I gotta speak plain. Ladies and gentlemen, if you or if anybody ever tells me, would have came to me and told me my 8-year-old, my 7-year-old, my 5-year-old daughter, when they were in elementary school, if they'd have came to me and told me my child was LGBTQ, I would have been in jail. Because why are we talking about the sexual preference of a child? That's how they sneak this stuff in on us, folks. They allow little tiny things like that to slip in. They said this about my good friend Candace Owens. I served 2 years as the state director for Blexit. I served 4 years as the state chapter advisor. And they did this to my good friend Candace Owens. This is what they called her. They called her a far-right provocateur. Right. So here's the interesting part about this. I'm in barbershops, I'm in communities, I'm talking to people, and when I bring up Candace Owens, oh, that girl crazy, she gonna get people in trouble. I said, well, why? For telling you to think for yourself? That it's okay to think independently? You know, I can appreciate, and y'all should thank God to have somebody on the school board who says, yo, I'm with the party, but I'm my own voice. I'll let these principles guide me, but I'm gonna have my own voice. And that's the type of strength we need to have in our Republicans. And I'll say this, folks, as a Republican leader in the party, I'm tired of this idea of we just gotta get a Republican elected. Not just any Republican, folks. We need to elect Republicans who will stand by and vote with our party platform, point blank, period, okay? So as I close out, I wanna challenge you all to do something. On your tables, you may see one of these, I'm a Republican because, little pamphlets, right? And yes, we're being slick. We're being slick. Because you can hand this to anybody. It doesn't say I'm a black Republican because, or I'm a Hispanic Republican because. It just says I'm a Republican because. But if you flip it open, everybody in the pamphlet is a minority. We are trying to make it as easy as possible for us to have this conversation in communities where we've typically not had it. And we have to have it, because if we don't have this conversation, if we don't share our values, we don't share our principles, we don't push back against the obvious madness. I'll tell you something, when I first got into politics and I started being vocal, I have a platform called the Urban Conservative. And check this out, believe it or not, I got called Uncle Tom. I got called Uncle Tom. I got called, what did they say? I kissed the white man's boots. Y'all saw what they did to Mark Robinson. They put him as an elephant and a KKK member. And the one thing that I get called a whole lot, y'all, is coon. So I figured out what coon actually stands for. Y'all know what it means? Constantly overcoming obvious nonsense. That is what coon means, okay? So, one, give this to a friend who may not know why you're a Republican. If it happens to be a black friend, great, cool. I ain't really judging on skin color, because we need everybody if we're gonna save this country. Second thing I need you all to do is to come to the state convention and let your voices be heard. Because I'm gonna tell you something, folks. In 2024, this party is gonna need grassroots leadership. We're gonna need somebody that's not afraid to lead from the front. We're gonna need somebody that's gonna be able to go in. I don't know if Trump is gonna be the nominee. I don't know who's gonna be the presidential nominee, but whoever that is, we're gonna have to have somebody that's willing to go out there, take the slings and arrows and fight back. You know, I spent 4 years in the United States Field Artillery. I did 3 of those years over in Korea. I was talking with some of y'all about that. Thank God I never had to see any combat, but let me tell you something, I was ready. I'm ready now. And I hope that you all are ready to join me, join with your chairman, and join with the Republican Party to fight for this country, to help us bring our country back closer to God, and help to realize the vision that our founders said when they said this: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, I dare say, I understand that politics and religion in some regards are supposed to be separate. I understand that the Republican Party isn't church, but I'm telling you folks, if we don't lead with our faith, if we don't get out there and be bold and courageous, and if we don't think outside the box, we're gonna be in continued deep trouble. And if we don't embrace our young Republicans like Mr. Dingy back there, you know, we have a real opportunity in 2024. North Carolina is not gonna be a battle state, folks. It's gonna be the battle state. So again, my name is Addul Ali. I'm asking for your support as I run for NCGOP Vice Chair. I'm asking you to continue to support the Republican Party, and I'm asking you to keep God first always. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.